It wasn't easy for a 7-year-old boy to procure radioactive material in Bourbon County, Kentucky during the 70s. So, after careful consideration and much research, I decided to get struck by lightning. On a muggy summer evening, as heat lightning fried through ominous purple clouds, I eased the screen door shut and started toward the back of our horse farm. Near the rear property line of our 50-acre farm, a dead tree stood alone on a barren hill, normally a perfect setting for saving imaginary compatriots from an evil overlord's noose. But that evening, instead of pulling off a daring rescue, I would use what I called the Tree of Sorrow to offer myself up to thunderbolts from the heavens. In preparation for this experiment, I had loaded a Boy Scouts canteen, a cherry Pop-Tart, a tattered spiral notebook with a red cover, my metal orthodontic headgear, and a guitar pick in my backpack. The canteen and snack were a nod to sword and sorcery novels, where the hero packed for long quests accordingly. I didn't have mutton, meat, or ale, so tap water and foil-wrapped goodies would suffice. The notebook was falling apart from use, the wire spiral distended and unevenly spaced. I had used a ruler and multiple colored pencils to rigorously document scientific examples of origin stories in which ordinary dudes transformed into larger-than-life figures capable of unimaginable feats. Astronaut Steve Austin crashed to Earth before being made better, faster, stronger. Billy Batson was selected by a race of wise elders who taught him to bellow Shazam when trouble approached. The comic book villain Juggernaut snatched a magic ruby from a cave, while Molten Man spilled synthetic liquid metal all over himself. Even my heroes, the band Kiss, who consumed my most every waking moment, were powered by pulsating red talismans, as they explained in the 1979 TV movie Attack of the Phantoms, when Peter Criss says, "Without those, we're just ordinary human beings." The majority of the transformations in my notebook involved exposure to radioactivity. Even casual pop culture observers knew about Peter Parker's glowing spider or the Hulk's laboratory gamma rays. But I was an exhaustive researcher, so my ledger also included lesser-known fictional folks like a misshapen 4'6" Soviet evildoer named the Gremlin and a Chinese communist physicist creatively named Radioactive Man. Consoling adults had assured us Central Kentucky schoolchildren that we were a long way away from the 3 Mile Island catastrophe, so I deduced it would be challenging to obtain radioactive waste. But electricity seemed equally dangerous and intriguing as radiation, and there were more than just 1 or 2 examples of lightning-induced transformations in comic book lore, most notably the green and yellow-clad baddie Electro, who had been a simple power company lineman working during a thunderstorm when a shock provided the ability to shape electricity into lashes, whips, and other forms of weaponry. Even my Kiss Alive 2 8-track featured an ode to the effects of high voltage with the Ace Frehley penned tune Shock Me, written after the guitar player was electrocuted on stage in Lakeland, Florida. I'd thrown in the headgear because wisecracking adults were always asking if I could pick up radio waves while wearing the metal device, so maybe it could help attract a jolt or two. I considered myself lucky that I had the cooler style that wrapped around the back of the neck, as opposed to the far geekier apparatus that rested on the top of your skull like some erector-set geek's attempt at designing a yarmulke. The final component of my backpack, a tortoiseshell guitar pick, was the whole reason I had embarked on this adventure. My parents were supportive, and they encouraged any of my goals or interests, but even at that young age, I knew I wasn't truly remarkable. I was a good student, but I didn't get straight A's because my teachers said I needed to apply myself more. And while I was never the last person selected for kickball, I wasn't the first either. I had friends, but I wasn't the most popular. On some level, I understood that I was good, very good at some subjects maybe, but not great. I was looking at a life of mediocre accomplishment, of restrained success. The honor roll, but not the valedictorian slot.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.